All right, one of the most important things you need to do every single month is reconcile bank accounts. So I have reconcile bookmarked over here in my bookmarks tab. Again, click the pencil icon, choose reconcile, click the box, hit save. This is so important. You want to do it every single month for every single bank, credit card, loan that has monthly statements. So once I clear out all those boxes that pop up, reconciling just means that we're going to take the bank statement and we're going to compare it to QuickBooks Online. So we want to do this for all of our accounts. And if I click on summary, by the way, I can see what's been done before. So here we can see none of the accounts have ever been reconciled. We are in the sample file. Hopefully when you're working with a real client file, you're going to see that transactions have been reconciled every single month. So the other cool thing that you can't see in the sample file, QuickBooks Online is pulling in bank statements for certain accounts. And so when you're in a real file, you might see an option over here to pull the bank statement. Super cool. Click on that. Your statement will pop right in. Otherwise, if it doesn't have that option, you'll want to get view-only bank access from your clients or request the statements every month. So we're going to make believe and just do an example here. For the checking account, I'm going to just do $5,000 as my ending balance really quick, and I'm going to pretend that this ended 12/31/24 just because I want to do a prior month statement. Now, here's something awesome. It's going to warn me, hey, you have transactions that need to be categorized before you can reconcile this account. So it already knows my reconciliation isn't going to work. If I have transactions sitting in the bank feeds from that time period, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to match these transactions that are sitting here to get them out of the way. So we're going to click match. And then I'm going to go back to reconcile my checking account. I'm going to put in 5,000 because again, I don't have a real statement, but you would actually look at the bank statement, you'd pull the ending balance, and you'd pull the ending date straight from the statement. They are not always end of month, so you always want to be paying attention to what the statement actually says. All right, and then I'm going to close this so we don't have all these messages popping up. Okay, so what's going to happen here? All the transactions that have not yet been reconciled, in other words, all the transactions that we haven't said, yep, I found this on my bank statement, are going to show up here. Now what you'll see is some transactions have check marks already, and many, many don't. The ones that don't have check marks automatically also don't have this green square here. So remember, this green square means we added this from the bank feeds. So when all of your transactions are coming through the bank feeds and we're adding them and matching them, we're really speeding up the reconciliation process because then QuickBooks is checking the box for us. Now for everything else, you're going to have to actually look at that bank statement and check the box to see if it's on there. Now here's a big red flag that this one has some issues, right? Is that we have transactions from September, October, November. So the reconciliation actually needs to start back in September. So what I'm going to demonstrate here really quick, I'm actually going to show you, so if I click this box, I'm going to select all. I'm going to click it again to unselect all. So sometimes you just want all those transactions undone. Then I'm going to click these two transactions here, and this is just for demonstration purposes. Let's pretend my ending statement balance was actually $4,875 on September 30th. So I want to get these September transactions reconciled. And I'm just, again, you'd actually have a statement, but I want you to see what it would look like. So pretend that we have a statement, and this is what my statement said, and there were two transactions on my statement. When I clicked edit info and I changed the statement ending date, notice now I'm only seeing the transactions through 9/30. So it got rid of all those extra transactions for me. And because my cleared balance matches my statement ending balance, QuickBooks is going to say, oh, good job, check mark, $0 difference, and you can click finish now. So again, it's going to be easier for you because you're going to have an actual statement to reconcile and pull in ending balances. So let's try another one. Okay, that we have our ending statement balance and we're reconciling through October 31st of 2024. So I'm going to click on start reconciling. And again, because all these transactions are manually added, I'm just going to click yes, select all. But again, you would check the box for each one that appears on your bank statement. So what happens if you're doing your reconciliation, and again, I'm just going to plug in a random amount here just to demonstrate. Let's say you're doing your reconciliation and a transaction is on the bank statement, but it's not listed here in your transactions. What that would mean is that somehow it didn't pull through the bank feeds, which happens, by the way. Sometimes transactions just get lost in the abyss. So if that happens to you, you are going to want to go back to the bank register. And from here, you can add in a check, a deposit, a sales receipt, whatever, an expense, whatever transaction is missing. You can actually just go right here and add it in. So let's say we are missing a check on 10/31. Put in a check number, put in a payee. I'd like to pick someone who's already here so I don't have to work so hard. All right, to A1 rental for an equipment rental. Okay, so then I click save. Then when I go back to reconcile the account, now that transaction that I just entered, assuming that I am looking at the right time period here, should be in the list. If you ever can't find a transaction that you know should be in the list, oh, okay, so I did it for the wrong year, 10/31/25 instead of 24. So let's click save on that to fix the date there. All right, close. Okay, so again, we have statement ending date as our filter, but you can clear it and remove it if you ever need to be like, I know a transaction should be here. Why isn't it showing? Just hit clear filter, view all, and then you can always turn that filter back on over here. You also can look at just the payments. So sometimes it makes it easier to reconcile if we look at just the payments and check off all the payments on the statement, and then look at just the deposits and check off all the deposits on the statement. And that's just going to depend on the bank account or who they're, whether it's Chase or Wells Fargo, whether they put their transactions together in deposits and expenses, or if they just do it chronologically by date and it doesn't matter. So if you are not ready to finish your reconciliation, you ran out of time, something came up, you can always click on Save for Later, and that's just going to leave whatever progress you had. And then when you're ready to reconcile, come back and click Resume Reconciling. Now, what happens if there are transactions showing here and they don't clear, they don't appear on the bank statement? So if you know for a fact that the transaction is not ever going to clear, so maybe it's a duplicate or it was the wrong amount, something happened, a mistake was made, you actually can also just delete the transaction once you're positive that it's an error, right? So let's say that, let's see, we don't have a good one. So maybe an expense here. Maybe we know that, oh shoot, I manually added this transaction and then for some reason later it pulled in through the bank feed. If that happens, you can always click on Edit and then click on More and delete the transaction if you need to. Now, I always wait until I've finished the reconciliations and I make sure that it never clears before I go in and delete any duplicates. So again, we want to reconcile every single month. We want to reconcile every bank, every credit card, every loan, anything that we got a statement for, we want to reconcile. In order to see what's been done, we can click on Summary, and that's going to show us the accounts that have been reconciled and the statement ending date and when it was last reconciled. And then if we click on History by Accounts, we can actually see the detailed reconciliation reports for each account by the period ending date. All right, so that was a pretty quick lesson on how to reconcile your bank, credit card, and loan accounts inside of QuickBooks Online.